Good afternoon, my friends. Good morning in United States. Good afternoon in Greece. Καλησπέρα στην Ελλάδα, καλημέρα στις Ηνωμένες Πολιτείες. Είμαστε εδώ για να τιμήσουμε την επέτειο, αυτή την δραματική επέτειο της επιθέσεως στους δίδυμους πύργους, γνωστή ως 9/11, της 11 Σεπτεμβρίου. Και έχω την τιμή να έχω μαζί μου τον κύριο Rick Hochner. I have the honor to be with Mr. Hochner. Mr. Hochner is a retired officer of CIA and senior advisor of Mediterranean Council and Forum. Welcome, Mr. Hochner.
Thank you, Andreas. It's great to be here. Thank you for organizing this.
We are here, as I said, in Greek language because this event will be in two languages, in Greek and in English too, to honor 9/11, this anniversary of 9/11. 19 years ago, the United States was under attack from the extremists, from the Al-Qaeda, and it was a day that changed our world. Ήταν λοιπόν μια ημέρα που άλλαξε τον κόσμο μας, άλλαξε τις ζωές εκατομμυρίων ανθρώπων, να μην πω δισεκατομμυρίων ανθρώπων, όλου του κόσμου στην ουσία, και είμαστε εδώ για να τιμήσουμε τα θύματα από αυτές τις άνανδρες επιθέσεις και να μοιραστούμε τις ιστορίες μας, γιατί όλοι το γνωρίζουμε αυτό και μέσα από τις προσωπικές μου εμπειρίες, γνωρίζοντας από τότε πάρα πολλούς ξένους και Έλληνες φυσικά, που συναντηθήκαμε σε διάφορα, έτσι, ας το πούμε, και καυτά σημεία του πλανήτη, σε εμπόλεμες ζώνες, ένα πράγμα θυμόμασταν όλοι σίγουρα: πού βρισκόμασταν, πού ήμασταν την ημέρα και την ώρα που η Αμερική δέχτηκε αυτή την άνανδρη επίθεση. Πού βρισκόμασταν την ημέρα και την ώρα που αυτά τα δύο αεροπλάνα πέσανε πάνω στους δίδυμους πύργους, το τρίτο έπεσε επάνω στο Πεντάγωνο. Περιμένουμε από εσάς να κάνετε κλικ στο σύνδεσμο που βλέπετε τόσο στις ομάδες μας στο Facebook όσο και στο YouTube, και να μοιραστείτε μαζί μας την εμπειρία σας και το που βρισκόσασταν εκείνη την ημέρα. Μέχρι τότε όμως θα ήθελα και μέχρι, αν κάποιος από εσάς, καλό θα ήταν έτσι να μας κάνει παρέα έτσι και να μοιραστεί μαζί μας την εμπειρία εκείνης της ημέρας, θα ήθελα να δώσω το λόγο στον Mr. Hochner και να μας πει αυτός πρώτα πού βρισκόταν εκείνη την ημέρα και την ώρα και πώς βίωσε όλο αυτό το τραγικό συμβάν. So I will pass the floor to you, Rick, and please tell us where you were during the attack on the Twin Towers.
So I was stationed in in the capital of an important European partner at the time. I was in the office when the first plane hit, recalling the attack on the Twin Towers back in 1993. I sensed immediately that this was a terrorist attack. Some people thought it might have been an accident after the first plane. Pretty convinced it was a terrorist attack, and then soon enough we found out that it was with the second plane hit. And those of us in the office, there were those who were pretty stunned and were watching the television, watching developments, and there was a certain sense to having that situational awareness. A number of us started to get to work to try to figure out if there was anything that we could do. At the time, we didn't know what else would happen if there were more attacks planned in the U.S., if there were attacks planned in other countries as well. And since we were in an important allied country, we thought we might see attacks there as well. So we got right to work, looking at the intelligence, talking to our partners, starting to take contingency plans, make contingency plans for how things might develop. And obviously it was a long and intense day that turned into many long and intense days after that.
All right, and Rick, how the other people around you react during this attack? You know, I'm sure that everybody ran to the television and watched the news, and you listen, of course, different ideas and opinions. You know what happened, or what? Please share with us this reaction, the reaction of your colleagues.
Yeah, I think it was everybody had a sense of shock and disbelief. But I think for the most part, everybody reacted with a sense that A, we were under attack, B, we were probably going to war, and C, that we had work to do. And so people pretty quickly got to work, most of us with an eye on the television for developments. And, you know, very quickly, you know, for example, we ended up having a 24-hour presence. And like I said, we all, despite the shock and disbelief, despite the grief and sadness, the anger, we all got to work and worked long and intense days after that. How about you, Andreas? Where were you, and what was it like for you and the people around you?
Let me talk in Greek, all right? So,
Sure.
Εγώ ήμουνα υπηρετούσα σε μία μονάδα του ελληνικού στρατού, των ειδικών δυνάμεων, και στην Ελλάδα ήταν, η ώρα είχε περάσει τις 3, γιατί θυμάμαι είχαμε τελειώσει όλες τις εργασίες μας, και βρισκόμουν λίγο πριν, ας το πούμε, κάνω το συνηθισμένο μου ντουζ μετά την υπηρεσία, την καθημερινή μου υπηρεσία, και κάποιος φώναξε ότι κάτι συμβαίνει στην Αμερική. Κάποιος φώναξε ότι κάτι συμβαίνει στην Αμερική. Είχαμε ανοιχτεί την τηλεόραση στο σαλόνι εκεί της μονάδας και έσπευσα κι εγώ, όπως οι περισσότεροι, να δούμε τι συμβαίνει. Το πρώτο πράγμα που είπα είναι ότι, και μετά ανακάλυψα βέβαια ότι οι περισσότεροι το είπαν αυτό, ότι κάποιος αδέξιος πιλότος έπεσε πάνω στο πρώτο πύργο και ήταν ατύχημα. Αλλά μετά βλέποντας το δεύτερο αεροπλάνο να πέφτει πάνω στον βόρειο πύργο, τότε κατάλαβα ότι κάτι δεν πάει καλά και ότι πήγε το μυαλό μου κατευθείαν σε κάτι άσχημο στο μέλλον. Γιατί μια τέτοια επίθεση κατά των ΗΠΑ σήμαινε αυτόματα και ένα πόλεμο κάπου στη γη, εν πάση περιπτώσει ένα πόλεμο εναντίον αυτών που ήταν υπεύθυνοι. Οι άνθρωποι, οι συνάδελφοι γύρω μου ένιωσαν λίγο πολύ το ίδιο και υπόθηκαν λίγο πολύ τα ίδια πράγματα. Και από τότε πραγματικά η ζωή όλων άλλαξε, γιατί στην ουσία ένα χρόνο μετά βρισκόμουν στο Αφγανιστάν. A year ago, Rick, I was in after the accident, after this tragic event, I found myself in Afghanistan. I deployed in Afghanistan a year ago during the International Security Assistance Forces mission, and I remember that I came back, I returned back my memories, and I said, "Wow, a year ago I was in Greece and I watched the television, and now I'm here in Afghanistan."
Mm.
It was huge experience, and of course changed dramatically my life too.
How much time did you spend in Afghanistan after 9/11?
Total almost 12 months. Total, because I deployed 3 times in Afghanistan during the International Security Assistance Force mission, and yeah, because it was a big experience, and actually I was there during the death of Bin Laden.
Oh yeah.
2011 I was there, and on the 1st of May of 2011 I was there under General Petraeus command, and I still somewhere I forgot to bring with me the stars and stripes of this day. With on the front page, what was Bin Laden, and we got him, or Kill in Action, and something like that. It's the headlines.
Yeah, that's
so. Yeah, I forgot to bring with me and to show to our friends, and show to you this front page. However, this day changed dramatically our world and our lives, because after the 9/11 a lot of people involved in this let's say long wars, and thousands of troops all around the world, right? The alliance was big and involved not only the NATO members, but I remember in the HQ, I remember even Pakistanis was there, even soldiers from Nicaragua was there. Changed lives.
Right.
And what you did after the 9/11? How this affect the ordinary life for you? I mean, during your service. I mean.
Right. So I think like most other people working in the national security community in the United States, I ended up working a lot more counterterrorism throughout the rest of my career than I otherwise would have.
Yeah.
For the first 3 years after 9/11, I was the person in the station who handled all of the volunteers. So anybody who was coming to us from any direction, whether it was in writing or walking in or what have you, with intelligence or with information that might rise to the level of intelligence, I was responsible for ensuring that they were handled professionally, and that if there was any intelligence to be gained from that, we got the intelligence, and we did it in the correct manner, in a professional manner. So that was, right away, what I had been doing changed to a much more counterterrorism focus. In subsequent assignments, I did more counterterrorism than I otherwise would have done. The function of my position as a case officer was that I was a generalist. I was supposed to do a lot of things, but I ended up doing more counterterrorism. And then the last 6 years of my career, I worked in our counterterrorism mission center back in the Washington area, working exclusively on counterterrorism issues. So it affected me greatly, professionally speaking, and because of the I said, I used the word intensity before, the demands of that particular mission,
Yeah.
the urgency of it, the many known unknowns and unknown unknowns of countering terrorism. It obviously had an adverse impact on my ability to have a work-life balance. You know, I had to make sacrifices. My family had to make sacrifices. And compared to the many people who spent a lot of time, like yourself, downrange in war zones, fighting the war on terror in harm's way, I had it relatively easy. There are a lot of people that have given an awful lot so that we not only never forget, but so that it never happens again. And it hasn't happened again, and knock on wood, it won't happen again, because of all that hard work and the disrupted attacks along the way, which I think a lot of people don't understand. That you know, we haven't had a repeat because of not because that was a one-off or because Al Qaeda was lucky. We haven't had it because of people doing a lot of hard work to stop them, to include people like yourself. So.
Yeah, that was, let's say, a global effort to stop and to stop the terrorists. All right, and I think the United States was the leader in this. It actually is the leader in this war on terror, which I believe that this war will never end. I think that this war will never end, and we are facing now sleeping cells, right, and active cells also in Maghreb, in sub-Saharan Africa, in Mali and Nigeria, or Al Qaeda in Maghreb, or ISIS was a processor of the processor of these terrorist groups and several other terrorist groups, and very people in a lot of young people. We see the young generation of terrorists inspired by this this tragic event. All right, for them, for some people now, it's celebration. It's a, let's say, a happy anniversary, and for us, it's a tragic anniversary.
Yeah.
And of course, the same. Yeah, please.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I was just going to say I agree with you up to a point. This war will go on forever unless we prevail in the ideological battle that we need to have. The enemy's center of gravity is their Islamist ideology, and we haven't really begun to fight that battle.
Allow me to say that the extremist, violent Islamic ideology. I used to say that when I was instructor in sub-Saharan Africa, in Mali. I used to execute training for high-ranking officers about the counter-terrorism too. All right, and I remember, and I would like to share that in public for first time. I used to say, and you know that, and you understand what I would say. All the terrorists or the Islamists are not terrorists, but all the terrorists are Islamists. And we used to say that, let's say, in the intel community, all right? And they understand. And they understand, even if they are Islamists, they understand, because they understand that we are not against the Islamic ideology, all right? We are against the extremist, violence Islamic ideology. When your ideology become a weapon to destroy the other cultures or the other cities or destroy lives, in order to take lives. This is a bad thing. That happened in World Trade Center, right? Allow me to say that Greeks also died during the attacks in World Trade Center. We have Greeks as victims, all right? And a lot of I met in my more than 6 deployments after the 9/11 in the Balkans, in Africa, in Afghanistan. Even when I was in the United States for training, I met people Greek Americans who participate in these deployments, and we share our experience. And of course, they changed their life too. But we should remember, as the Greeks, and allow me to say that in Greek language, please, Rick. After that, we had also victims, right? Greek people killed during these attacks. Αυτό που θέλω να πω δηλαδή στα ελληνικά είναι ότι και Έλληνες σκοτωθήκανε κατά τη διάρκεια αυτής της επίθεσης στους δίδυμους πύργους. Και θρηνήσαμε και θύματα από τη πλευρά των Ελλήνων. Και όχι μόνο, ήταν πάρα πολλές τα θύματα προερχόντουσαν από πάρα πολλές χώρες. Ωραία, πάρα πολλές εθνικότητες. Αυτή η επίθεση ήταν ενάντια στο πολιτισμένο κόσμο. Δεν ήταν μόνο ενάντια στις Ηνωμένες Πολιτείες. Παρόλα αυτά που λέγονται για συνωμοσιολογίες και I will leave behind, Rick, the conspiracy theories and all these let's say scenarios that that's normal every time that happens. Every time these scenarios come and go, and but let's stay to the point. And the point was that it was a tragic event happened by violence, extremists, Islamists, and they took the floor to continue that and to expand that. And we faced that 10 years ago. After that, 10 years after the event, with the ISIL or ISIS or Dabig, remember the Dabig? They have also founding. They have also their magazines and their websites, and now they recruit people through the internet, through the web. They recruit people through the web, and we should remember that after 9/11, several terrorist attacks happened in Spain, in Germany, in England, right? And our
Bali,
conversation
South
today. Yes, exactly. I'm not talking about Afghanistan, of course, because especially until 2011, and I was there 2009 and 2011, 2002, 9/11. 9, 10, and 11 was the bloodiest years for the alliance and for the Afghan army. The bloodiest years. Every day it was an event. Every day it was an event, and every day allied country suffered a lot of victims. So that was my short comment about your previews, because it is very serious. People think that we are against the Islamic ideology. We are not against Islamic ideology. We are here to live in peace, prosperous. We love the life, the liberty, the pursuit of happiness. Everybody in the West world. We're trying to win this pursuit of happiness, let's say, all right?
Yeah.
And events like that, attacks like that, it was not only, that's why I want to repeat that, it was not only attack against United States, it was attack against the civilization, our civilization, Western way of life. So, Rick, the American people, all right, the American people, the American, let's say, society today, you think that they remember 9/11 as they should do? Are you satisfied from these memorial events and the anniversary, let's say, to honor the day, all right? It's not happy
Right.
anniversary. It's a tragic anniversary, all right?
No,
What do you think?
So I would caveat this by saying for the last couple of years, I haven't been in the United States on 9/11, but I was there for the previous 6 years. On 9/11 itself, and in the days before and after every year, it is remembered. It is a solemn time. We remember the people that died on the day, those who were victims of the attacks, and those heroes who, I saw on your graphic at the beginning of this, the firefighters and police officers who ran into the buildings.
Of course.
Everybody who perished on that day, the people who worked at Ground Zero in the weeks afterwards, many of them suffering severe illnesses and passing away since 9/11 because of that service on the ground. The people who joined the fight in all kinds of different ways, in all kinds of in many different parts of the United States national security apparatus in many countries, to include Greece. So I think there's a remembrance of all of that, and certainly that feeling of we can't forget and we can't let this happen again. I think, as I said before, to a certain extent, and this is a double-edged sword, but when it's not that time around 9/11, people don't think about it very much, and in a sense, that's a good thing. Everybody who's been involved in the counterterrorism fight wants everybody else to be able to go about their lives and live in peace. But I think we make a mistake when we confuse the lack of spectacular attacks with the lack of a threat. That threat is still there, and there are many people that are just as hard now.
It's more sophisticated.
Yeah, and it evolves with the countermeasures that we take. Exactly. It has become more sophisticated, but I can tell you that the level of effort to stop it has not diminished since September 12th of 2001. And so people who are living in peace, I just hope that they recognize why they're able to live in peace. It's not because this has gone away. It's not because that was a one-off lucky attack that they got. It's because of all the work that's been done to make sure it doesn't happen again. And to go back to the point that we discussed before, so that we don't have to commit the same level of effort forever, it would be really, I think, a positive thing if we worked with our partners to counter the ideology and ultimately to defeat the ideology, the Islamist ideology, the terrorism that the Islamist ideology justifies has killed more Muslims than anybody else.
That's true.
The good thing is that there are, I think, increasing numbers of very strong Muslim voices that are coming out against Islamism and the terrorism that the Islamism justifies. Ultimately, I think it's important that Western governments make a distinction not between violent and nonviolent Islamism and Islamists, but they make a distinction between tolerant and intolerant Muslims, and partner with tolerant Muslims, which are the grand majority of the Ummah.
I count on your words. Just let me to focus in three, let's say, bullets. All right. The first is that I would like to repeat, and I would like to make it clear. I am against the extremist Islamization and the extremist Islamist and the Islamization. All right. That's a point for me, because we both work with Islamist people for the good of their countries. All right, we have let's say interpreters or other workers in our bases and outside also, traders and friends who used to play football in every Friday in bazaars with Afghan army, and was great guys, and they fighting the extremist Islamists, and we are fighting in our countries the extremist Islamization, that some people want to enter as illegal immigrants and to pass the extremist ideology. All right, so it's something I would like to make it clear. It's two different things, right?
Absolutely.
The second.
Let me just say, Andreas,
is that
Andreas,
sure.
I'm sorry. Let me just say real quick that not only have I think both of us worked with Muslims from predominantly Muslim countries. At least in my case in the U.S., I can say that I've worked with fellow Americans who are Muslim in the national security community, who fall into that group, that majority group that I mentioned, that are tolerant Muslims who are against Islamism and the extremism and terrorism that comes from it. So I just wanted to say that.
I agree. Just Rick, I know that you don't want to say that. Just I wanted to make it clear to our viewers, right?
Sure. Yep.
And of course, I met Muslims here in Greece. Not many, not few, very few so far. All right. I don't want to enter in this conversation about the illegal immigration and the Islamization. I want just to be clear, all right? The other thing that I want to mention is that we are almost 20 years after the 9/11, right? And we are talking about a generation. And I think, from my perspective, I think that the people forget. They don't honor this day as we should do. We don't honor this day as we should do. We should honor. And why I'm saying that about the generation, and you see with all these, let's say, social problems that we face in Europe and in the United States now, and the people, they don't respect their flag, they don't respect the veterans, they don't respect as we should. All right, I repeat, as we should do, right? And allow me to say that if we will forget, you said that too before, if we will forget tragic events like 9/11, and if we don't honor these events, we will history will repeat. All right, we will live these tragic events again. Right. Αυτό που θέλω να πω δηλαδή, και να το ακούσουν και οι φίλοι μας και να μείνει και στα ελληνικά, είναι ότι άμα δεν τιμούμε τέτοια τραγικά γεγονότα, γιατί ήταν ένα τραγικό γεγονός και όχι μόνο, για μένα όχι μόνο επίθεση, το έζησα σε όλες τις εκφάσεις του, όχι μόνο εναντίον των ΗΠΑ, αλλά εναντίον ολόκληρου του δυτικού κόσμου. Αν δεν τιμούμε και δεν θυμόμαστε και δεν παραδειγματιζόμαστε από αυτά τα τραγικά γεγονότα, από τόσο τραγικά γεγονότα, είμαστε καταδικασμένοι να τα ξαναζήσουμε. Γι' αυτό είμαστε εδώ, άλλωστε, για να τα τιμήσουμε, έτσι, να αποτίσουμε ένα μικρό 40 λεπτό, μια ώρα, έτσι, ένα μικρό φόρο τιμής, σε πάση περιπτώσει, στην ημέρα, στα θύματα. Είχαμε και Έλληνες, όπως προανέφερα, και πρέπει να το θυμόμαστε. Δεν πρέπει να το ξεχνάμε. That's why, Rick, we say never forget and we don't say we remember. It's totally different, all right? It's totally different to say never forget and we say we remember, right? But it's totally different. So something I see that we don't our friends just send some messages and they don't want to participate live. Okay, that's something that I respect. And they send me some messages. Already I asked you some questions which our friends asked me to do to you. And just last question allowed me to ask you. Do you think that in the future, your assessment, all right, in the future, it is possible to live something huge like that? How possible is to live something huge, something similar? So how possible is to happen something similar?
Well, I think
I know, and allow me to say that. Allow me to say you have 25 plus years of experience in agency, right? That means 5 years. After 5 years in the agency happened the 9/11. So your assessment has a lot of gravity, let's say, right? It's very important for me and for our friends. And just if you can say, if you can share your thoughts about that, I'm all ears.
Sure. So what I would say is that there have already been attacks that would have caused similar loss of life, similar damage that were disrupted in the last 19 years. And the capability.
And people, they don't know about that, and the people that don't know about that.
Well, I think
right.
A number of these attacks that were disrupted have come out in the news, but they didn't happen, and so they didn't get the same level of attention, and they weren't seared into people's memories like the attacks of September 11th. So as you observed, the capabilities of terrorist networks have not decreased. They've gotten, if anything, stronger and more sophisticated, and therefore more lethal. And so if we let off the counterterrorism pressure and give them time and space to operate, then they will be successful. So I would say in the first instance that yes, it can happen again. It's why we can't forget, and why we have to work to make sure it doesn't happen again. But we also have to remember that when we denigrate terrorist networks and we disrupt their ability to attack us, the strategic effect of that is that buys us time. And the question is, what do we do with that time? And my argument is that we have to use that time to fight the ideology, and that's how we ultimately win, and bring about a more peaceful world for everybody involved. But yes, I do think it could happen again, but it's not happening and hasn't happened, thankfully, because of all the hard work that's gone in to making it not happen. And that's a global effort, as you pointed out, many countries participating in that, and many people in many countries participating in that.
Yeah. In the opposite, many people support the terrorist activities and fund the terrorist activities, right? And
unfortunately,
sometimes we know that, and during our forums in HEPA and Mediterranean Council Forum also, we discussed about this funding, all right? And we know them, and we're monitoring them, right? And we both know that there's a lot of information about these terrorists. Unfortunately, we cannot talk about that in public, and we will stay our conversation, which we are almost finished our time on this short, let's say, ceremony, all right, to honor the victims of this tragic event back 19 years ago. I would like to allow me to say that, Rick, I totally agree with what you're saying, and I will always repeat the words of Thomas Jefferson, and with this I would like to close this our short honor event. The price of liberty is the eternal vigilance. That says Thomas Jefferson. And this great man, today people blame him. And some people destroy his statues around the United States. And it's a shame. However, we will keep that, and I will allow me to translate that in Greek too, all right? And let's say we'll proceed to the close remarks after that. Ο Thomas Jefferson, αγαπητοί φίλοι, είπε ότι ο τρίτος πρόεδρος των ΗΠΑ είπε ότι το τίμημα της ελευθερίας είναι η συνεχής επαγρύπνηση, και αυτό είναι που πρέπει να μας κάνει και για να προλάβουμε την τρομοκρατία, για να προλάβουμε την εξτρεμιστική ισλαμοποίηση του δυτικού κόσμου. Πρέπει να είμαστε συνεχώς σε επαγρύπνηση, και πρέπει να στηρίζουμε εκείνους τους θεσμούς και εκείνες τις προσπάθειες που πραγματικά νύχτα και μέρα προσπαθούν και παλεύουν να αποτρέψουν οποιαδήποτε τρομοκρατικό χτύπημα στηρίζεται σε οποιαδήποτε εξτρεμιστική ιδεολογία. Ωραία, γιατί εστιάσαμε στο θέμα της Ισλαμικής, του εξτρεμιστικού Ισλάμ, λόγω της ημέρας, αλλά δεν πρέπει να ξεχνάμε ότι είμαστε ενάντια σε οποιαδήποτε εξτρεμιστική ιδεολογία από όπου και αν προέρχεται. Alright, Rick, and this is my close remarks, Rick. I said in Greek, of course, that we are against in any extremist ideology that, let's say, can rise the violence and the terrorism, right? Because we have faced that a lot of times in our societies, that some extremist ideologies came together and linked together, right? And you know that, we both know that, we both know details, that it's not for the public, but let's stay in that. We are against in every extremism, an extremist ideology. Thank you very much, Rick. I don't know if you have 1 or 2 minutes for close remarks, and you have 2 minutes for that.
Okay. I would like to make some remarks. Again, thank you, Andreas, for organizing this.
Some close remarks. Yeah, sorry.
Okay. Thank you for organizing this, and thank you also for those of you who have tuned in or who will watch this later to commemorate this important day. I want to thank also all the people who have served, the men and women in the U.S. In many different capacities, and the men and women of our allies and partners to ensure that something like 9/11 doesn't happen again. And I also would like to say that those people who continue to fight even this day, and and those people, particularly those tolerant Muslims in the Ummah, who are trying to courageously counter the extreme Islamist ideology that animates this terrorism, that they are in our thoughts and prayers, and I hope that that we all will support them as they do that hard and risky work of speaking up against people who are very violent. So again, thank you, Andreas. It's been an honor to be here on this day and to remember the lives that were lost, the heroes that lost their lives that day, and all that have fought, and unfortunately the too many who have died since, trying to make sure it doesn't happen again. Never forget.
Never forget. Thank you very much, Rick. It was honor for us to have you here. You're a decorated senior retired officer of the agency, and I would like from my side to dedicate our conversation and our time here to all these men and women who sacrifice their lives to prevent and to sacrifice their lives against the terrorism, and to still they sacrifice their lives to prevent the future attacks. To all our friends around the world, from the United States to Australia and Greece, of course, and all the people who participate with their messages, thank you very much for your participation. Stay tuned, and I have a forum of our AG41 chapter in affiliation with Mediterranean Council Forum. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and to our Facebook pages, and follow us in this Sunday at 2000 Greek time, Athens time zone, an extremely Greek conversation with three high-profile experts from United Arab Emirates and from Greece. Rick, it was an honor to share this day with you. I know your experience. I know how you live how this event changed our lives and your life too. We are on the both sides, Rick, and let's wish that, and let's do our best these tragic events will not happen again. Thank you very much. Σας ευχαριστούμε πολύ όλους, και το αφιερώνουμε όλη αυτή τη συζήτηση που κάναμε σήμερα, την αφιερώνουμε, και εγώ προσωπικά την αφιερώνω σε όσους θυσίασαν και όσους θυσίασαν τη ζωή τους, όσους πυροσβέστες, firefighters, το law enforcement, τους αστυνόμους, τους Έλληνες και όλους τους ανθρώπους που έχασαν τη ζωή τους μετά από αυτό κατά τη διάρκεια αυτού του τραγικού συμβάντος, αλλά και μετά στις επιχειρήσεις που κάναμε για την καταπολέμηση της τρομοκρατίας, και ακόμα και στους ανθρώπους που σήμερα με τη ζωή τους και τις δικές τους θυσίες βρίσκονται σε όλο τον κόσμο και προσπαθούν να σταματήσουν οποιαδήποτε, και σταματούν ακόμα και αν δεν το μαθαίνουμε εμείς, τρομοκρατικές επιθέσεις που συμβαίνουν, και αυτό πρέπει να κάνουμε για να μην ξαναζήσουμε. We will never forget. Δεν πρέπει να ξεχάσουμε ποτέ τι έγινε 19 χρόνια πριν στο κέντρο του Μανχάταν, στους δίδυμους πύργους στη Νέα Υόρκη. Thank you very much, Rick. Good night, everybody.
Night.
Καλή νύχτα σας και καλό απόγευμα εκεί στις ΗΠΑ.